What was the first thing that drew you to writing poetry or to the music?
Honestly, it's your fault.
Welcome to Growing Inspiration, the podcast that nurtures your passion for the arts and creativity. I'm your host, Shana McLean, and I'm thrilled to take you on this delightful journey through the vibrant world of arts and culture. In each episode, you can expect engaging interviews with a diverse range of artistic and creative individuals. We'll delve into what inspires them, explore their unique creative processes, and discover how their art enriches their lives. Together, we'll uncover the beauty of literature, the performing arts, the visual arts, food, wine, and spirits, and the inspiration gained through travel. Whether you're a connoisseur or just beginning your exploration, our conversations will inspire you to deepen your understanding and appreciation of the arts. So get ready to discover new perspectives, spark your creativity, and join a community of fellow art lovers. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Growing Inspiration podcast. I'm your host, Shana McLean. My very first guest on the show is my brother, Brady Buchanan. Brady is a poet, songwriter, and musician. He picked up the guitar as a teenager, and as you'll hear, his interest in poetry began with a bit of efficiency in English class. We grew up in rural western Pennsylvania, and Brady's music and poetry conveys a sense of place and soul drawn from the scenes and experiences of the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. Brady is a member of the steering committee for the Bridge Literary Arts Center, which holds various events such as open mics, workshops, and lit fests in and around Venango County in western PA. His poems have appeared in the Watershed Journal and the North-South Appalachia Anthology. Brady's involvement in the regional arts community has not only helped others express their creativity, but has also contributed to an environment where he has been able to create more as well. I'm so excited for you to meet my brother and learn about his creative journey. So welcome to the show. Thank you for agreeing to be my first guest. This is my brother, Brady Buchanan, who is a guitarist and poet and songwriter. And so he has agreed to give us a little bit of insight into his creativity and his art and what it means to him. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself from your perspective and what you enjoy doing from an artistic standpoint?
You named it all. Recently, I've been focusing much more on my poetry. And I'm playing guitar, not as much songwriting as I was doing in the past, but I've kind of been doing all this stuff for about 30 years now, since I was, a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully I've gotten a little better at all of it in those 30 years. But I've definitely been, buckling down on the writing aspect, and doing a lot of workshopping with friends, and really enjoying where that's taken me.
Mm-hmm. What would you say kind of started you on your journey? What was the first thing that drew you to writing poetry or to the music?
Honestly, it's your fault.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember, but there was you did a report on Sylvia Plath.
Yes.
And
that was very impactful.
So, me being, as efficient as I was in school, when it came my turn to do a report, I thought, well, how about I do a report on Sylvia Plath too?
It's called repurposing.
Yeah. But in the process of, trying to not completely plagiarize, I learned a lot about her, and started becoming intrigued by her writing and poetry. Poetry up to that point had never really, when you're, learn about it in school. The most exposure I'd had to poetry was, Robert Frost or something, who I appreciate now, but at the time it wasn't that intriguing for a teenager, and but when I read some of her stuff and it was less formal and more vulnerable, that's what really sparked my curiosity.
Mm-hmm. And you also started playing guitar in high school, is that?
Yeah. I think I got my first guitar when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
and started messing around. And yeah, I've always enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed playing music. We were in band in school, and I played trumpet and stuff. But I of course, was drawn to rock and roll and playing guitar and stuff, and it was a great outlet for me, and I've just enjoyed playing it ever since.
Do you still play guitar much with other people, or mostly by yourself?
Mostly by myself at this point. Every once in a while, I'll play with some other people. But yeah, I've been doing because the organization that I'm involved with, we do some events, we do some open mics and so forth, and it's nice to have a little bit of music to break up some of the readings, and so I've kind of been tasked at different times to play a song or two, and that's kind of been the nudge I've needed to, like, okay, I need to learn some songs, and and I enjoy it. It is fun, but I've also started with a little project with my friend Phil Turman. We've been I'll play a song, and he'll read a poem, one of his poems. There's a correlation there, loose correlation theme wise, and what it looks like is I'll maybe play a verse of a song, or a verse in the chorus, and then he'll interject a few stanzas of his poem, and then I'll play the next verse, and we kind of we call it kind of like a conversation,
right,
back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of fun, and people seem to enjoy it.
Do you find that helps either of you or one of you kind of take your piece to another level, or give you ideas that you wouldn't have otherwise had?
I'm sure it does. I mean, just being involved in art, period, is, I feel like it. The more involved, the more you're around art, the more art you're going to create.
Right.
So,
can you tell us a little bit about the Bridge community and the Lit Fest that you're involved with?
And we're called the Bridge Literary Arts Center. It's an organization that was started probably about 30 years ago. Phil started it. There may have been some other people involved that sorry if I'm not mentioning other names, but I think it was, Phil was the main driving force, and he wanted to start a artistic community in Oil City. He was teaching at Venango campus in Oil City at the time, and so throughout the years they did a lot of things. I know another person on our steering committee, Cindy Eckert. I believe she was involved early on, and they did coffee houses in Franklin at the Barrow Civic Theater.
Okay.
I think it was monthly, and they would have artists come in, either musicians or authors that would do readings. And it took many different forms over the years, and I knew it then just as a spectator, not a participant. But it kind of had a resurgence here. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
And that's when you started involved.
That's kind of when I started getting involved, and we decided that we wanted to do a festival, and we did a literary festival in Franklin in 2023 at the Wildcat Mansion, and it was very successful. We had some authors come in, and we did workshops throughout the day, and we did a fiction workshop, we did a nonfiction or creative nonfiction workshop, a poetry workshop, a screenwriting workshop, and then kind of had a celebratory open mic at the end of the night.
How
and
many?
then
Sorry.
well, you're going to ask how many people.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was somewhere around between 60 and 70 participants.
That's great.
It was yeah, very, very successful for the first year. Then we did it again this past year at the former Venango campus. It has been sold sold or gifted, I'm not sure, but it was to an organization in Oil City, Pennsylvania. The Oil Region Alliance now has ownership of Venango campus, and so their sort of mission statement is to use it for things like the Lit Fest and to enrich the community. And so we were able to use that facility, and which is perfect. I mean, it's a college campus basically. And again, we had a great time. We had similar workshops, and we want to make it continue to make it an annual event.
How many people would you say you had the last year?
A little less. I think it was probably about half as many people. Which, if you let it could be a little discouraging, but we're just trying to use that as motivation to come up with some new ideas maybe and draw some more people in. And I part of it's, we do it in the summer, and if people are on vacation, it's hard to find the right weekend in the summer when people are going to be able to do it. And
I think I saw that the one for 2025 is actually going to be in September of this coming year.
Yeah, that's the plan. We haven't set a hard date, but yeah, we're going to shoot for September. That seemed to be, we did a survey at the end of both of them, and this year we asked, like, hey, would there be a better time than July or August? And it seemed like the consensus was September.
Okay,
Be a good month to have it.
Yeah,
so we're hoping to I mean, it's not growth just for growth's sake. Like we just want to get as many people involved as possible. It doesn't really matter. We would do it if 10 people signed up. We would do it if 2 people signed up. It's a labor of love. So it's but we just want as many people to take advantage of it as possible.
Right. So if we could just switch gears a little bit and go back to your creative process, as far as you've talked about writing songs as well as poetry. Is there a different way you go about writing one or the other, or what do you choose to set to music?
They are definitely different, I guess, disciplines. Songwriting is definitely, for me, kind of what happened was I was writing these songs that were not that lyrical and kind of ponderous, and because I was trying to fit all of this stuff into these songs, and at some point I thought, maybe these really aren't songs. Maybe these would be better, as poetry or even prose. And that's where I kind of made the switch. So now when I kind of approach songwriting, I kind of try to keep that in mind of like, this is a song, keep it as a song, keep it lyrical, where my poetry is a lot of my poetry is pretty narrative and can read, like a piece of prose almost, if it wasn't for, the line breaks and so forth.
Right.
So yeah, they're different animals, but as far as like the topic, if I think of if I have an idea, it's like, should this be a song or a poem? I don't know if I have a real formula for that, or if it's just a kind of a gut feeling kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or what I'm in the mood for, whatever.
Yeah, your poetry, I'll admit I haven't heard as many of your songs as I've read of your poems, but it tends to be very visceral. Usually makes me cry. So maybe your songs are a little bit different in that way.
Yeah, I think so.
But do you have a poet or a songwriter that is kind of someone that you have emulated, or that you is your favorite even? Just
I mean, I have lots of songwriters that I would hope to emulate, that I don't feel that I do. Some of my favorites, are, I mean, Bruce Springsteen is an incredible songwriter. Jason Isbell is probably my favorite. John Darnielle, who was in a band called the Mountain Goats. He writes very narrative songs a lot of the time, and very interesting guy. Poets, I don't know. I definitely, like you said, I'm definitely drawn towards sort of the dark and the bleak, So like, James Wright is one of my favorites. I really, I've always enjoyed reading, the beat poets. Not as dark necessarily, but Kerouac is definitely one of my favorite. Although I probably like his prose more than his poetry, but I mean, I guess it's kind of all over the map because I love Mary Oliver. She's not necessarily as,
but she's very thoughtful.
Right. And I because I write a lot about nature too, and so she writes a lot about that.
Yeah, and Wendell Berry, I saw that you.
Yeah, Wendell Berry is amazing.
Yeah. How would you describe your musical style, like as far as the actual sound?
I don't know. I pretty much write now. I pretty much write on the acoustic guitar, so I guess it's kind of got a singer-songwriter feel to it. I'd like to think there's maybe a little bit of a, old country feel to it, or sort of an Appalachian feel, maybe even a little of a Celtic feel to some of the actual music that I write, the riffs that I write, and so forth.
A lot of the influences that we grew up with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. And do you have a favorite band that or solo musician?
I mean, yeah, that's a hard one.
Even if they're not completely with you.
Yeah, I don't know if I could really put a finger on one particular band that I would say is my favorite, or musician that I would say is my favorite. Just, maybe some of those songwriters that I mentioned as far as the actual craft, But yeah, my musical tastes are kind of all over the place. So it's just, if they're authentic and genuine, I'm probably going to be interested.
Where would you say you want to take your poetry and or your music? Like, do you have any projects you're working on or goals for the next year?
I would not really. I don't have any like real strong desire to publish a book or anything like that quite yet. I feel like I don't feel like I'm ready for that. I mean, I feel like I could do that, but I don't think it would be as good as I would want it to be yet. So I want to just keep working towards that goal eventually. Maybe a chapbook, or something like that. I guess I'm just kind of in that phase of keep grinding at it until I get where I think I should be.
Mm-hmm. And where do you draw your inspiration from, for the most part, for your poems?
Nature a lot, and just I guess, relationships, family relationships. I guess I feel like I write about childhood a fair amount, sort of processing, some of the emotions from childhood. Now I'm kind of finally able to process them, and people that I've lost, people that we've lost.
Right. Yeah, which is probably why it always makes me cry.
Yeah, but it is very cathartic that way.
Yeah, great. And kind of the question I want to ask everybody is, who would you describe as the most creative person that you can think of, alive or dead, that you would kind of emulate or look up to?
That's a tough one too. There's there's I feel like there are some answers that would be sort of I've always been kind of drawn to like the tortured artist kind of people that are just, they can't help but create. And there's some obvious, Van Gogh or Kurt Cobain or whatever, that just, Sylvia Plath, of course. But I think actually the people that I admire the most are some of the people that I know personally that have sort of come to find their creativity later in life, even. Some of the people that come to our workshops and so forth that, work their whole lives, raise kids, whatever, didn't have time to pursue these passions until they're retired even. And now they're doing it. And it's not just that they're doing it, it's that they're able to like be that vulnerable. This late in life, they're finally able to open up a little bit. And that's just, to me, that's admirable.
Right. And have all that experience now to draw upon. To create. Right. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with me and having a conversation today about your poetry and music. And maybe at the time of the Lit Fest in September, we can have another conversation.
Yeah.
That'd be great to maybe interview some of the folks that are going to be part of that.
That would be great.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Growing Inspiration. I hope you found today's conversation as inspiring as I did. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment to subscribe and share it with your friends. To dive deeper into the world of arts and creativity, visit my website at gardenofmydelights.com for exclusive content and resources, including show notes. Don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter for the latest updates and insights. You can also connect with me on Instagram for more inspiration at Garden of My Delights. Until next time, keep nurturing your creativity and looking for beauty and wisdom all around you.